It's that time of year to watch Netflix Christmas films, and today we're talking about Jingle Bell Heist, a brand new holiday-themed heist romantic comedy that just dropped on the platform. Directed by Michael Fimognari and written by Abby McDonald, this film stars Olivia Holt and Connor Swindells as two London-based small-time burglars who team up to pull off a major heist on Christmas Eve. And along the way, they might just fall in love. With Lucy Punch and Peter Serafinowicz in supporting roles, Jingle Bell Heist is exactly as ridiculous as you'd expect. If you're looking for something serious, this isn't it. But here's the thing. There are a few dramatic and honestly pretty wild plot twists that you probably won't see coming. Don't worry if you get lost along the way. I'm here to break it all down. Let's dive into the plot and explain that ending, including the big twist. Plot synopsis. So let's start with Sophie, played by Olivia Holt. Sophie works two jobs to support her sick mother, who's undergoing some unclear cancer treatment. But here's the catch. Sophie's also skilled at pickpocketing and occasionally steals money to get by. While working at Sterling's, a department store, Sophie steals a diamond-covered dog collar from an unpleasant customer. She hides it in the high-end vaulted security section of the store, where she also spots other expensive jewelry and grabs some modest cash. Now, miles away, a guy named Nick O'Connor, played by Connor Swindells, is watching all of this unfold on the store's security camera feed. Nick actually installed this security system and still has access to the footage. But here's his story. He was fired and accused of stealing from the shop. He served 2 years in prison for it, and now he's struggling to find a place of his own and maintain a relationship with his little daughter and baby mama. Nick tracks Sophie down at work and uses the video of her stealing to blackmail her into helping him rob the high-security locker at Sterling's. Sophie refuses at first, but eventually agrees when a doctor tells her that her mother needs an expensive procedure to recover. The two execute their plan and break into the security locker, but when they get there, the jewels are already gone. Someone else got there first. The new plan. The next day at work, Sophie overhears a coworker say that Sterling keeps $500,000 in cash in his office's personal safe. So she pitches a new idea to Nick. Let's steal that instead. After some reconnaissance, they come up with a plan. Sophie tells Nick she can crack the safe once they figure out what type it is. Apparently, she learned how to do this from her grandfather. But there's a problem. They need a key fob that Sterling keeps in his bedroom at home. This fob changes the safe's code every 60 seconds. During their planning, Nick opens up to Sophie. He confesses that he never actually stole from Sterling's. Maxwell Sterling, the owner played by Peter Serafinowicz, stole from his own business to collect the insurance money and framed Nick for it. Even though Nick was innocent, he took a plea deal because he could have gotten a much longer sentence. In response, Sophie shares her own painful story. She was disowned as a child by her own father. The holiday dinner plan. To get the key fob with the code to Sterling's safe, the two come up with a fresh scheme. At Sterling's holiday dinner, Nick will seduce Cynthia, Sterling's wife, played by Lucy Punch, and get her to take him home. Amazingly, this seems to work. But then Cynthia comes clean. She's fully aware of what Nick and Sophie are up to. Instead of turning them in to her husband, Cynthia says she wants in on the heist. In exchange for giving them the fob with the code, she wants half of the money. The heist. On Christmas Eve, Nick and Sophie sneak into Sterling's office after work. They use the code from the key fob to open the safe. But behind the first safe door, there's a second one, and it's locked. A computer asks Sterling to provide a DNA sample. Nick thinks it's all over, but Sophie agrees to have her finger pricked to collect a DNA sample. She inputs it into the system and the safe unlocks. It works. The big plot twist. Here's the twist. Sophie is actually Sterling's illegitimate daughter. According to Sophie, her mother also worked at the business, but she was fired after Sterling got her pregnant. Sterling then told Sophie's mother that Sophie wasn't his daughter and completely cut them off. What a nasty guy, right? Getting caught or not. After successfully breaking into the vault, Nick and Sophie are caught by the store's security guard because of an untimely sneeze. Sophie volunteers to take the blame so that Nick can be there for his daughter. Luckily, Sophie pleads with the security guard, who's her friend, to let her go, explaining that Sterling is the real thief. The guard agrees and lets them go. Meanwhile, Sterling races to his office safe with the cops. With the police watching, Sterling opens the safe and discovers that nothing has been stolen. In fact, the jewelry that was recently taken from the security locker has actually been added to the safe. Wait, what? The real plan. Here's what actually happened. When Cynthia told Sophie and Nick she wanted in, she had way more in mind than just stealing jewels. Cynthia's real plan was to frame her husband and take over his entire business. If Sophie and Nick helped her, she'd take care of them in return. Cynthia told Sophie and Nick where Sterling hides his stolen goods before the insurance claim goes through. So Sophie and Nick broke into that locker, took the stolen items, and placed them in Sterling's safe. This way, Sterling, who framed Nick and the new security guard, is now framed for a crime he actually committed. Poetic justice. The ending. After Sterling is arrested by the authorities, Cynthia takes over the business. She pays Sophie and Nick as promised. We don't know the exact amount, but it's enough for Sophie to cover her mother's medical expenses and for Nick to buy his own apartment near wherever his daughter ends up. In the final scene, Sophie, her mother, Sophie's bar buddy, Nick, Nick's kid, and Nick's roommate all gather for a Christmas meal together. Then the credits roll and the film comes to an end. The Jingle Bell Heist ending ultimately feels a little rushed and complicated. But hey, it's just a fun Christmas film. It's not supposed to be deep. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, make sure to like and subscribe for more.